I am recording, so officially, welcome everybody. My name is Gelly, for those of you that maybe are not as familiar with me. That's like Gelly with a hard G, like Kelly with a hard G, right, Gelly. And oh, let's make sure everybody is on mute, please. I'm just gonna mute all of you right now. Okay, so everyone's on mute, so we wanna make sure we don't have any background noise. And today we're talking about how to network on LinkedIn in just 15 minutes a day. Okay, so I probably don't have to tell all of you how important LinkedIn is these days, but maybe I do. So let me just take a few minutes. And, I think, again, all of us know that during the shutdowns, people flock to LinkedIn, right? If you weren't already active on there, a lot more people flock to it. The challenge is people don't quite know how to utilize the platform to actually get what they need out of it. And now we're all kind of experiencing almost kind of chaos, right? People are running these automated requests and we're getting a lot of spam, and LinkedIn has just kind of turned into something that it wasn't. So one of the things that one of the things I've noticed is that people are struggling to connect and have conversations on there because it's gotten so noisy. Okay, so the question becomes, how do you stand out from the spam bots? How do people actually see that when you send them a connection request or you send them a message, it's you? Like, this is not an automated sequence that you sent. You're a real person wanting to connect. Okay, so that's a lot of what we're going to discuss today. But before we begin, I have a few more logistical things. So now I'm going to actually share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. And as you can see, well, actually, can everybody see my screen? Just put your hand up if you can see it. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. I just want to make sure. So a few housekeeping items, okay? So smile, you're on camera, all right? Unless you have your camera turned off, we can all see you. I can see you. I can see your smiling faces. And that's how I get a lot of my feedback when I teach, okay? So I have two big screens. The presentation is on one. All of you are on another. So feel free to give me feedback, because even if you're on mute, I can still see your faces. And those of you that have your cameras turned off, no worries. You're not on camera, but if you are, don't forget that you are. Please keep all the questions until the very end, because I will not be able to see the chat. And also, it's just it's smoother for me to get through all the information I need to get through. And then we're going to have an optional 30 minutes at the end for the Q&A. All right. And I will stay and answer all questions. Let's just keep them to the end. I do encourage you to close down your email and anything else you might be doing to get the most out of this presentation. I know we all like to multitask, but if you could just give me an hour of your time, you're going to walk away with, a lot more retaining in your mind. Okay, so again, why you're here? You're not all here to just hang out with me today, even though I know I'm so awesome. Kidding, but you're here because much of in-person networking has been replaced with virtual interactions. Okay, we know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. LinkedIn is king or queen right now. Like, this is where people are trying to connect, trying to get leads and network. It is the largest professional networking social media platform there is, period, hands down. So you don't want to get left behind, right? People are making serious money on LinkedIn right now, and this is extremely time sensitive. You're going to hear me repeat this a few times. Why? Because LinkedIn is functioning right now the way it did, or the way Facebook did 5 or 6 years ago, meaning there's a lot more organic reach. We didn't have to pay for everything. And because of that, a lot of people were able to build huge, massive followings on LinkedIn or on Facebook. So LinkedIn is right now acting the same way. So we've got to capitalize on it. This is very time sensitive because they change algorithms constantly. Okay. The last point, you want to know how to effectively connect with the right people without spending hours a day. Okay. Unless you have hours a day, which is wonderful. You could absolutely spend hours a day in LinkedIn if you want. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to show you how you don't have to. All right. So here's what you're going to learn today: how to network on LinkedIn, what LinkedIn Authority is, why it's important, and how to establish it. This right here is going to be huge for your networking efforts. Okay, so if you're not familiar with what this is, we'll talk about it. And at the end, I'm going to give you a step-by-step action, like check boxes. It's really a checklist is what it is, like what to do within your 15 minutes, okay? So this is what we're going to cover today. Make sure you stay right to the end to get all your questions answered, like I said, and that's when I'll be sharing this checklist, okay? So everyone that stays to the end, I'm just going to put the link in the chat and you get it. So if you're there, great, you get it. If you drop off before, the link goes away. A little bit, again, just very, very quickly, a little bit about me, because I know we have a lot of new people on the call. Promise I'm only going to take about a minute to tell you who I am, but my name is Gelly, again, and I accidentally launched my business during the 2008 economic crisis, okay? I had no idea the economic crisis was coming. I was in my 20s. I was working at JP Morgan, and I hated my job. I had this disease called entrepreneurship, and I didn't know it. I was miserable. And this was my second job out of college following my career path, which was in marketing and communications. So on resume, the job looked amazing, but I was just miserable. And I started networking to discover other opportunities. And lo and behold, I discovered that I love networking. I love connecting with people. I loved just learning about them. And next thing I know, my professional network started to grow. And then the very next thing that I'm shortening the story for you, okay? I very quickly realized there was a need in the market. There wasn't a centralized place where if you wanted to know where networking events were happening, that you could go there and see, right? Like Facebook really wasn't a thing back then. LinkedIn wasn't really being used for that. So if you wanted to know where networking events were happening in Phoenix, you had to know me. I was like the walking, talking calendar of networking events 13, 14 years ago. So what I did was I did something brilliant. You ready for this? I put together a Word document of all the events in Phoenix, right? It was copy, paste, copy, paste. And I kept sending this Word document because I kept getting so many requests for it. And it was honestly annoying. Right. And I said, and at the time, all of a sudden I have this epiphany. At the time I was married to a software engineer, and I was like, you know what? Why don't I ask him to build me a website with a calendar on it? And I'll put up all the events, and this way nobody has to ask me anymore for the, where the events are happening. And, maybe I'll get some traffic to the site, yada, yada. Okay. So I'm totally going to shorten the story. We ended up building this platform, which is now known as networkingphoenix.com. We put up the website, the calendar. We launched it January 1st. The economy crashes. Everybody starts scrambling to find where networking events are. They land on my website. It skyrockets overnight. I did not see this coming. Okay. I mean, like I said, totally shortening the story. I had my very first networking event. I rented the space for 100 people. I thought maybe 100 people would show up. I asked my mom to do registration. As you can see here in the pictures, I'm wearing jeans and a pink tank top. I brought the blazers just in case. And when my mom saw me not wearing it, she's like, put your blazer on. What do you think you're like? She went mom mode on me. So long story short, over 600 people showed up to my very first networking event. It was a logistical nightmare, but it put me on the map in this town. And that was 13 years ago now. So here we are, as of today, I'm the founder of networkingphoenix.com. We have, I do a lot of coaching, consulting through, my media side, Gelly Media, right? I work with small business owners. I help them with their marketing efforts. And, if anyone is interested in more of my story, here's my TED Talk. We're not going to talk about my TED Talk, but people always tend to ask, I'm a refugee, came here from the former Soviet Union. People tend to have an interest in that. So if anybody is interested, back to Networking Phoenix though, I woke up a few days ago. One of my friends texted this to me. We are the second largest networking organization in Phoenix, right behind the ASU Alumni Association. And before they were listing, I was number one. That's okay. So I'm like right behind them. We have over 40,000 or over 43,000 profiles that have been created on the website within our network. They're all business owners, entrepreneurs, marketing, sales professionals. Anyone should be networking. And I'm sure each one of you falls into one of these categories. All right. So that's a little bit about me. That's a little about Networking Phoenix. So as you can tell, my background is in marketing. It's in communications. It is in networking. It's in working with small business owners. All right. Again, so just giving those of you that are not as familiar with me, this is who I am, and this is why I'm teaching this LinkedIn course. All right. So enough about me. That's not why we're here. So let's get everyone used to the chat box also, please, because if you want to exchange information or if you have some comments to make, please find it. It should be in the bottom right of your screen, but type in yes if you're excited to get started. Okay, so let's see. I want to see some chats coming through right now. I'm going to take a look. Love it. Okay, there you go. Perfect. Most of you know where the chat box is. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, very cool. So I already told you what we're going to cover today. These are important topics that we're not going to cover today because simply we don't have the time and LinkedIn's too big of a topic. But if you've never gone through these bullet points that I'm going to talk about, this is very, very important. And I've taught webinars on all of these last year, but the first one is why it's important to have a solid LinkedIn profile before you start engaging with people. So if you haven't updated your LinkedIn profile to look like a landing page, this might be a challenge for you. Okay, your LinkedIn needs to be optimized so that when you start networking with people and they go back and look to see who you are, it represents you well. Okay, so if you haven't done this, you may want to talk to me after the class to see how I can help you with it. Second bullet, why you have to narrow down who you are targeting on LinkedIn. Clearly explain how you solve their problem. You're not talking to everyone in LinkedIn. If you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. You have to be super specific, okay? Next point, how to attract your avatar. Your avatar, this is not the Blue People movie, okay? Your avatar is your ideal client, but we are going much, much deeper psychologically on who your avatar is. So you know their problems better than they know their own problems, and you know how to solve them. That's how you get your client. I mean, I'm shortening this very much, but this is not what we're covering today. And how to craft a genuine note to get a response in conversation, okay? So my point is to show you that these are like fundamental pieces of your LinkedIn. Today, we're going to talk about networking. So let's begin, okay? Let's talk about LinkedIn networking. Oh, and by the way, I do want to say, I mentioned logistically, we're going to save questions until the very end. I will also tell you towards the end, once we get through the presentation, I'm going to share with you a course, a LinkedIn course that I'm going to be launching later this month. Please keep in mind the way that I talk about it, it's still very educational. I am giving you bullet points that are still very necessary, and I'm explaining each one, okay? So it's not just like a buy my stuff kind of thing. It's like I'm still keeping it educational, okay? So just want to prep all of you for that. So number one, when it comes to LinkedIn networking, one of the most important things that you could be doing on a daily basis is posting status updates. All right. Now, why do we do this? The goal is to build authority. And then what does that mean when I say authority? Okay. Like, what does it mean? So it means that you want to show people that you are a thought leader in your industry. Okay. Are you an authority in your industry? Do you know what you're talking about? Do you talk about the trends? Can you talk about the intricacies? If the answer is yes, great. Show people that on LinkedIn. All right. You want to stand out from the rest by sharing valuable information. Are there people on LinkedIn that do the same thing that you do or something similar? Yes. Stand out from them. Most of them are quiet. Most people don't know how to use LinkedIn, right? Most people don't post on LinkedIn. They just have a LinkedIn profile. So it's really not that difficult to stand out. Just start talking about what you know best, right? Which is your industry. Third point, you want to be a credible resource for people on your subject. Okay, so if let's say you're a real estate agent, right? And you're constantly, I mean, this is a simple example, but you're constantly posting about what's going on in the market, almost daily, people start to trust you as a resource, right? So even if you were complete strangers, but now, I'm reading your posts every day to get information. Now we're no longer strangers. You may not know me, but I feel like I'm connected to you because you've been giving me so much valuable information. It's just how the human mind works. Okay. It's very natural. So you should be sharing posts to demonstrate your thought leadership in your industry and sharing helpful tips and resources. Okay, so pretty simple, right? So we all kind of understand, right? So why is authority important? Because it's like a warm introduction, right? Like the example that I just gave you with the strangers. You know, you might be strangers on LinkedIn, but if I'm consuming your content and now you invite me to have a conversation, I don't feel like I'm talking to a stranger, right? So you're almost creating warm introductions for yourself by telling people who you are. Sharing valuable information within your industry makes people want to talk to you, and the conversations are, they're warmer. Okay, these are no longer cold leads, no longer cold conversations. Okay, so that's why we've got to post, we've got to build authority. Now that's the strategy, so that's the mindset. Okay, you're not just posting just to post. So okay, you're like, Kelly, that's great, I can you know, work on posting every single day, but what do I post? Okay, great question. I know all of you are thinking that, or maybe some of you. So we're going to go through the types of posts. So the first thing, and this is the easiest thing you could do, is article link sharing. Find articles that are relevant in your industry. You know, for me, as you can see, this article that I've reshared, it's about networking. I didn't write this article, okay? But it says networking can sometimes feel like a full-time job itself. Here are some helpful networking approaches that are underutilized by many professionals, and I share the link. Okay, super simple. The next type of post is you can reshare other people's posts. Okay, so here you see me, this is me resharing Sarah Blakely's post, and Sarah Blakely, she's the founder and CEO of Spanx. And this text is kind of small, but the message here is good. I'll read it to you. Making good decisions comes from experience. Experience comes from making bad decisions. Can we all relate to that? Yes, we can all relate to that. Remember, I can see you. Okay, so I can definitely relate to this. So see, I reshared it and I used the little icon, you know, the girl handing her hand up. Okay, super simple. Again, I am sharing a message that most people can relate to, and maybe it puts a smile on their face. Anytime I can make somebody smile, I release their dopamine and they start to like me a little bit more. Okay, I teach this in my networking course. Dopamine is a very important part of networking. Make people feel good. When you make people feel good, they start to emotionally connect to you. It's a neurological response in our brains. Okay, the next type of post, basic status updates. Okay, so you can share an inspirational, motivational quote, right? People love those. I'm sure you've seen those, so you know what I'm talking about, right? Just something that motivates you, inspires you, or maybe personal accolades, right? So here's another example of a post from 3 weeks ago. I was interviewed on a podcast, and so I shared, you know, this is almost like a little accolade. You know, I shared where I was interviewed. I shared the link, and this was a little image. This was actually a little audio clip, so you could hear a clip of it. You know, when I was talking about, I said I had no idea so many people would show. I'm talking about my very first event. I had no idea so many people would show up. They showed up because we had some kind of a relationship. They were part of my community, right? So remember, I told you over 600 people showed up. It was a logistical nightmare. I talk about that event because it was a very pivotal moment in my own life. Like my entire life, I saw the droves of people coming, and I was like, wow, what did I just create? I had no idea what it was back then. It took me a while to realize what I'd created, you know? So you can see whenever it is some more personal, I get a lot more engagement, right? You can see here, this post had over 1,000 views, 45 likes. It's very tiny. I don't know if you can see, but I'm reading it to you. So these posts typically get really good engagement. Okay, the personal ones. Okay, so the next one type of post, relevant or valuable content, right? So let's say, I don't know how many of you have blogs, but let's say you write a blog post. Well, that is a wonderful thing to share on LinkedIn, right? So, and I created this post as an example because I didn't actually have a recent blog post to share. So I did this last night and then I deleted it. But example of a post where I share a link off of my blog, right? So I put in some text here, I give it hashtags, I put in the link, and this is what it shows up as. Okay, it's got an image in there because it's pulling it off my blog. Self-explanatory. Okay, the next type of post you could do is a promotional post. Maybe you're promoting a webinar, maybe you're promoting some type of an event. Here I'm always promoting my virtual networking calls on Fridays, right? So for those of you that maybe haven't been and you'd like to join, keep in mind they're on Fridays from 12 to 1:30. You're welcome to come as my guest to the first one. But I'm always promoting that on LinkedIn. You want to sprinkle these in. You don't always want to be putting out promotional posts. That's annoying, right? I mean, there's really no other word for it except no one's going to pay attention. People don't want to see promotional posts all the time. Show people value, okay? If you don't show people value, they're not going to look at your promotional posts. You have to sell them on your value before you promote something. And then last but not least, we've got articles within LinkedIn. This right here is gold. Pay attention to this one. LinkedIn wants you creating your content on LinkedIn. They don't want you to write it on your blog and then share it on LinkedIn. They're okay if you do that. But if you create an article on LinkedIn, they are going to weigh it much heavier, meaning they're going to show it in more people's feeds. And when people search for a topic, LinkedIn has very high search engine optimization, very high SEO. So when you search on if somebody searches on a topic and you have an article on LinkedIn about that topic, chances of you showing up in the search are much greater, right? So let me show you an example. Okay, this is an important one. So I'm going to show you some examples. So this is my article. We'll come back to this in a moment. So I'm going to show you from the beginning what this might look like. So we're going to go to LinkedIn, my LinkedIn. Okay. And so first off, if I wanted to write an article, right, you see right here at the top, I get to post, photo, video, goal. This is newer, I think. You get to write an article, right? So this isn't different than writing a post, right? So I'm going to show you again. So if I want to just write a short post, I click in here, right, and I start typing. This is a post. We're not going to do that right now. Here's where I go to write an article. When I click on that, it takes me to an actual article type of a situation, right? You see, I can add an image, give it a headline, write the article. The end result looks like this. Okay, so I wrote this. Actually, I wrote this last night. I was like, I need to show them a fresh article, because I have some articles, but they're not as fresh. So I was inspired by the fact that I'm going to be teaching this class today. And the topic is the do's and don'ts of virtual networking etiquette. How timely, right? I mean, I can't tell you the amount of faux pas I've seen from since March when I launched the virtual networking classes. Some of you might recognize yourself, in this image. But so here I wrote the article. And, it doesn't have as much engagement yet because, I just posted it last night. But this article then goes out as a post, right? So it looks like this because I did post it. Again, let me show you the visual on this. Post an activity. It's a little slow because I think I'm sharing my screen and recording. But see how it shows up as a post. Okay, but it's an article, right? You saw, so it's an article. And the great thing about articles, they live forever. Posts will go away. People won't find your posts unless they show up on their feed for some reason. But the articles, it's like a blog post. They're on there forever. Here's what's cool about it. So the other day, I wanted to know how to put this, do you see this ring circle around my image? This maroon one? I wanted to know how to do that. So I went into Google and I put in how to create circle around LinkedIn photo. Okay, I hit enter and a few things came up, and this was one of the articles right here. It was written in 2018. It was one of the first ones. So I clicked and it said LinkedIn. You see how it says www.linkedin.com. So I'm like, oh, was this like an FAQ on LinkedIn? Right away, my mind, because the first thing I see is LinkedIn. So I didn't realize this was somebody else's article. So I thought it was, I'm like, oh, this must be credible. I click on it and it took me to this guy's article, this guy Kyle, that he wrote 2 years ago. And how do you put a circle around your LinkedIn profile picture? Anyway, so I went through, I read the instructions, very simple. And then I was like, Kyle, I was like, wow, this guy gave me such good instructions. Who is he? Then I wanted to know more. So then, of course, I went to Kyle's profile. right? So do you see how this is like a marketing, this is a way to get people to find you, right? That's what I'm saying. Posting articles on LinkedIn is gold, especially if you, you know, like within your industry. Because if people are going to be searching for information within your industry, you want them to land on your article, right? You want to be seen as that thought leader. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. Again, if you've got questions, please keep them to the end. I know I just covered a lot here, but this is the last type of post, and like I said, this one's very important. So the next question I typically get is, great, but when is the best time to post on LinkedIn? Not in the evening like I did yesterday with my article, but that's okay. Sometimes that's what you got to do. This is the latest study. This was done in 2020, and it tells us best times are typically Wednesdays from 8 to 10 a.m. and noon, Thursday 9 a.m., 1 to 2 p.m., Friday 9 a.m., right? So it's just giving us this, you know, if any of you are interested, maybe just take a picture of this screen or take a screenshot, but it's giving you information. And how often should I post? I recommend daily if you can. If you can, at least every other day, right? And you can always schedule your posts. You can pre-schedule them. I use Hootsuite, and I don't even know if that's the best, but I've just been using it for so long. It's easy. It's free, and you literally can just go in and schedule when you want your post to go to your LinkedIn. I will tell you that, you know, there's one more thing I forgot to say. Let me show you on this post. It's not ideal to put a link in your actual post. Notice here, I say registration link in comments. The reason I do that is because LinkedIn, if they see that you have a link in your post, they don't want people leaving LinkedIn. So they're not going to rate your post as high as it could be. So the most ideal situation is to put the link in comments, but you can't do that if you actually pre-schedule your posts. Right? Because if you pre-schedule it, then it's gonna, that's why my shared articles right here, these are pre-scheduled. So the link is just gonna be in the post. There's not much I can do about it. But when I post manually, I personally always put the link in the comments. Okay, so that's another little tip for you right there on how to get your posts, because you want as many people as possible to see your posts. There's a lot more to say about that, but again, we could be here for weeks. You know, so I'm giving you the 15-minute a day. Okay, so now that you went to LinkedIn, you did your post, we're moving on to accepting connection requests. Okay, so that would be the second thing that I would do. Begin by looking through your connection requests and accepting the appropriate ones. Okay, so these are the frequently asked questions I get. Should I accept people I don't know? And should I accept someone who clearly sent me an auto message? So for me personally, I'm going to tell you my personal philosophy. Do I accept people I don't know? Absolutely. I am a networker, right? Like, I want to grow my business. I'm not hoarding anything over here. Like, I will connect with people. You've got to give me a really good reason to disconnect from you or to not want to connect with you. But if you're a seemingly normal person trying to do business on LinkedIn, even if you sent me an auto message that makes you look like, you know, not so smart, I will still accept it. You know why? Because guess what? Once I accept you and once we're connected, you're now in my marketing funnel. All right. So you maybe thought I was landing in your marketing funnel because you sent me some weird auto message because I showed up in your filter, but I understand marketing, right? So I never say no to people I don't know. And I don't say no to people that sent me a clearly auto response. Now, the people that send me a personal message get a different response from me. The people that send me auto messages, my admin will handle this. The people that send me a personal message, and I could see it's an actual message to me, Gelly, as a human, as a person, they get a personal response from me. Okay, so that's kind of how I weigh things out. Now, again, that's a whole different strategy. We don't have time to go into it. But the point is, I have a strategy for all of this, and you should too. Okay, I'm giving you some basics here. Okay, so how do you respond? Purposefully and consciously. This is important. Okay, so before you respond, you want to visit the person's profile to determine who they are. Take a quick scan. Who is this person? This is why I'm saying before you start networking, make sure your profile is set. Okay, it's got to be updated. It's got to be optimized. It needs to be your brand's landing page. If you don't know what that means, we need to have a conversation. This is going to help you craft the response note. You want to personalize your note, your response, as much as you can, right? For example, I looked through your profile and noticed you have many great articles on networking. Show them that you took the time to actually look at who they are. You know, don't just send them oh, great to connect with you. Oh, you do more. Oh, you do this. Okay, great. Well, I, you know, I sell hair ties. Do you want to buy my green hair tie? This is the best hair tie you're ever going to have. Buy my hair tie, buy my hair tie. This is what I'm seeing on LinkedIn right now. It's horrible. Okay, so don't be that person. The goal is, look, if this is someone you want to actually have a conversation with, your follow-up note should include an action item. Would you be open to a 15-minute networking call? Okay, they don't need to know what you do. Meaning you don't need to try to sell them anything before you get them on a call. What if you don't want to work with them? But this is why you're assessing who they are. Okay, so that's the purpose of responding, purposefully and consciously. Okay, the next thing you're going to do. Okay, we're moving on to the third step now. Is you're going to reply to messages, right? Because assuming that you're on there daily, you're going to have conversations with people. Okay, again, do it with purpose. Review and reply to any new message you have received, obviously. Okay, the goal is to build relationships and get to know your network. Remember, that's the purpose you're coming in with, not to get them to buy your stuff. That will come if you can build the relationship properly. You have to earn it. The sales cycle has shifted, very much so. Before, it was much shorter, and now it's much longer. There's a lot of noise. Everyone's marketing. Everybody's selling. There's way too much in them. People don't know who to trust, right? This comes back to authority. If you quietly build up your authority, then by the time you are exchanging messages, it's a much warmer conversation for you. Okay, that's why I started with the posting first, to build your authority. Okay, so be interested in them, ask questions, add value. Networking on LinkedIn is really not that much different than networking face-to-face and in person. Okay, it's a very similar human interaction. Nobody wants to be sold. We want to build relationships. So keep that in mind as you're networking on LinkedIn. Okay, and you'll be in the green zone. So again, if this is someone you want to actually have a conversation with, you should have an action item, right? I think most people these days are open to a 15-minute networking call over Zoom, right? Coffee is a much bigger commitment. I remember, before Zoom, before 2020, everybody wanted to meet for coffee. I mean, can you imagine I have a network of over 40,000 people and everybody wants to meet for coffee? Like I would have like an IV attached to my veins, right? But that was a much more difficult thing. Plus, not to mention, I have to get out of my house. I have to, look decent, I mean, it's just a lot of effort. But for a 15-minute networking Zoom call, it's very simple, very low barrier. Okay, so most people will agree to this. I've agreed to this with perfect strangers because I was like, 15 minutes of my time isn't going to hurt me. Worst comes to worst, I make a good connection, right? So moving on to step number 4, engage with your network, okay? What do I mean by that? Comment, 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 okay? People take time to create posts in hopes of others engaging with them. Be their dopamine hit. Dopamine hit. Remember what I was saying, that people really thrive off of dopamine? Like if somebody puts, like one of the things I hear is, Kelly, I post all the time, nobody engages with my stuff. I don't know if I should post anymore. Keep posting. There's a trick there. Honestly, there is a trick to getting your posts noticed. Now, are we going to cover that today? No, because that's a whole hour conversation. So I don't have time to cover how to get your posts noticed. I will in the next. But if you see people in your network are posting, engage with it. Okay. Leave a valuable comment, share your opinion, at the least react to it. Let me show you why this is so important, not just because of the dopamine hit, but here's an example. So Greg Head is, he's one of my connections, right? And so is Corey. So Corey commented on Greg's post and it showed up in my feed, right? So this is what I mean by LinkedIn is acting like Facebook did years ago. Do you remember back when we were on Facebook and somebody would comment on something and it would show up on your feed? You're like, oh, what is this? This looks interesting. And it wasn't from one of your friends. This is what's happening on LinkedIn. Now, Greg Head is my first connection, but Bobby Carneal isn't, right? But Jacqueline Roeder, she's one of my connections, and she reacted to this. She gave it a heart, and this showed up in my feed. Okay, so your action on someone's post will show up in your network's feed. You're helping people in your network be seen. On the flip side of that, you want, when you put out a post, you want people in your network to engage with it as much as possible, because it's going to show up in their network's feed. Do you see how that works? And now you're going to be getting discovered by people that are not your connections. Okay, so that's why engaging on posts is important, even if you don't make a comment, even if you just react to it. Okay, but if you really want to network and connect with people, I would say take a minute or two to actually write some kind of a comment. So the next question we get to is, okay, great, Gelly. Well, how do we find people's posts? Okay, well, the simple and obvious one is you're going to scroll through your news feed. Okay. You're going to scroll through your news feed. The second one is you can make a list of the people that you want to build relationships with and visit their profiles to see if they've posted anything recent. And you can follow hashtags. I'm going to show you examples of all of these, okay? So let's break this down. So number one, scroll through your news feed. So let me go. So here's my LinkedIn. I'm going to hit on the home button. Okay, so here's my news feed. Right, the first thing that comes up is something that, you know, Doug Ducey posted 6 days ago. We're going to leave politics out of this. Let's see. I'm trying to. I'm just looking for something I may want to comment on. Okay, so for instance, here's this guy, you know, Strati. So he posts motivational things daily, and I mean, just look at how many reactions he gets. Look at this, 10,849, 629 comments. And this is a video of a dog. I mean, I haven't even watched the full video, but people love this motivational, inspirational kind of stuff. Now, is he a dog trainer? Absolutely not. He is an executive coach creating social impact. But he posts he says, click follow for daily wisdom and inspiration. You can't see that, but it says inspiration. So if I wanted to, here, we'll give them a like. Okay, very simple. So this is me just looking through my news feed. Now, the second point I made is make a list of the people you want to build relationships with and visit their profiles. So, okay, I know Linda's on the call. I think, Linda, I saw you. I don't know, all of your time. There you are, Linda. Okay, so Linda, I'm going to pull up your profile. So let's say Linda, and Linda is one of my clients, but let's say Linda is somebody, you know, that I want to just get to know better, build a relationship with her, you know, just, you know, I want to recruit her into my network. I want to build a relationship, right? So it's very possible that I have a list of, I would have an Excel document of all the profiles that I need to visit on a daily basis. Okay. So I would pull up Linda and I would go to her activity right here in her profile. So, right, and it says see all activity. So I can click on see all activity. And by the way, this is actually the link that you can bookmark. See right here, it's a recent, so next, so if I take this link and let's say, you know, I have an Excel document going. This is just, I'm just using this as an example. Okay, and I have Linda's profile here, and I know that every day, let's say I have 10 profiles. Every day I'm gonna go visit these 10 profiles, and I want it to take me directly to this link, then this is the link I bookmark. Okay, does that make sense? So I'm gonna land here, and it's gonna show me Linda's latest post. Okay, so it looks like 46 minutes ago, Linda posted 11 tips for building business with photography, right? So again, if I'm looking to build a relationship with Linda, you know, I can like it, you know, I can maybe read through it. Or I'm not going to, you know, for time's sake right now, but I could leave her a comment, you know, great tips, Linda. Thank you for sharing. Now, what does this do? A lot of things. One, hopefully makes Linda feels good, right? Dopamine. Two, now that I comment, she's happy. Linda's happy. She's over there giving me feedback. But, you know, now that I engaged with it, it's going to show up in my networks feed. Okay, so I'm helping her be seen by engaging with it. And, you know, Linda sees that I'm engaging with her. So Linda's going to say, oh, Gelly's really taking the time to engage with my stuff. So now if I want to have a meeting with her, she's probably going to be a lot more open to it, right? Than me just being a cold random stranger saying, hey, I want to get, you know, have a meeting or start pitching, right? So we're networking, we're building relationships. So this is one of the biggest ways I can recommend to, one of the best ways to, you know, engage with people, tag them. The other thing is going to be to follow hashtags to discover people that you haven't met, but are maybe talking about things within your industry. So let's actually, you know, Linda, I'm going to use you as an example. Let's say you wanted to have conversations with people that use virtual photography hashtag. I can click that on LinkedIn. See, look, I clicked it. And see, it opened up virtual photography. Now this one only has 7 followers. So there's probably not a lot of interaction conversation here. But, you know, so Linda, let's say you wanted to follow this hashtag, and now anytime anybody uses virtual photography hashtag, they're going to show up in your newsfeed and you can add to the conversation, right? So let's say, who's this guy? Okay, I don't know who this is, but I've been living in a plane the last 5 years visiting. Okay, I don't know if this may not be relevant to you, right? Thank you, Jillian, for motivating me to write my first LinkedIn article. Through all of this, I keep thinking there's always something to learn. A virtual photo shoot in the time of social distancing. So Linda, see, this might be of interest to you, right? So you might want to look at this for, again, tips, or maybe you want to, you know, leave her a comment and say, you know, Carmen, you know, I'm facing the same situation. You know, it's great to hear there's others out there. I mean, it's just potentially a referral partner, right? This is maybe how we find referral partners. So this is what we do with hashtags. I know I'm going kind of fast through this, but hopefully all of you are kind of catching how you can discover people that you aren't already connected with. Okay, next, we are going to go to respond to engagement. Okay, so this is the 5th and final tip, or what you're going to do to network on LinkedIn. Respond to engagement. So what does this mean? It means keep the conversation going. Respond to any engagement on your status updates or comments that you've received. It's very easy to miss, right? So let's say you put a post out and somebody actually commented and you didn't see it, you never responded to it. Well, that was a great waste of nothing, right? So, well, not waste of nothing, it was just a waste. So you want to make sure to respond to any of the engagements. So if someone that you don't know liked your post, go stalk them, go find out who they are, right? Maybe this is somebody you actually want to connect with, right? And that could be a great in for a connection request. I see you liked my post about virtual photography. Thank you. Would love to connect. All right. So review your notifications constantly to make sure that you don't miss anyone responding to your comments on their posts. And where do we find our notifications? Right here. See this little bell right here? If I click on it, it's going to take me to my notifications, because it's easy I miss them. I'm telling you to do everything that I do personally daily, because it's very easy to miss. Okay, so as a recap, okay, so you've got 15 minutes a day on LinkedIn. You're not spending hours on here unless you've got extra time, which is perfectly fine. But the recap is, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to post a status update, because you always want to be building your authority. Okay, you want to be seen as a thought leader in your industry. You're going to accept connection requests. You're going to reply to messages. You're going to engage with your network, and you're going to respond to engagement. Okay, so we didn't, like I said, I didn't cover everything on LinkedIn. There's way too much to cover here. But what I'm going to do next is we're going to shift gears. And I am actually going to talk about all the other things that you could and should be doing on LinkedIn. Of course, the way I'm going to talk about that is I am going to, introduce you to a course that I'm launching on January 20th. Okay, it's a 6-week LinkedIn course, and it's all about networking on LinkedIn to grow your business, where we go in deep. Okay, there's absolutely no way I can cover everything in 1 hour. I'm sure all of you understand that. So, but let me tell you, set the structure of what basically we're going to talk about here in the next few minutes. So this might be of interest to you if, again, you want to be proficient in speaking LinkedIn. And what do I mean by speaking LinkedIn is you get it. Like you want to understand you want to understand LinkedIn and how it works and how you can actually pull clients out of there. How do you network on LinkedIn? Because remember, again, the strategy here is the networking strategy. We're not using LinkedIn as a sales tool. LinkedIn is not a sales tool and should not be used as such. Okay, you're looking for an avenue outside of virtual networking events to create conversations. You're not meeting people right now if you're not on about. You need to have conversations. How else are you going to create these conversations? Okay, virtual networking events are great, but that's one of many that you should be doing. You want to capitalize on LinkedIn's current algorithm. Guys, this is time sensitive. I can't tell you that this is huge. We don't know when they're going to update it. They update things constantly. Right now, LinkedIn is very user friendly. It's budget friendly. You can get a lot of visibility for free. You want to have a LinkedIn networking strategy that actually gets you clients. Okay. You are in need of leveraging LinkedIn for leads. So if you check off any of these, okay, this might be of interest to you. So again, what is this? This is a Network on LinkedIn to Grow Your Business 6-week intensive course. So let me tell you at a glance. Again, this is broken down in such a way to still be educational for you. Okay, so week gone, and I alluded to this before, but gone are the days of your LinkedIn being a resume to the world. If you're a business owner, your LinkedIn profile is your brand's mini landing page. I'm going to give you an example of mine, okay? Because some of you might be saying, I don't know what that is, Gali, or maybe you do, maybe you don't, but let me show you. And I updated mine. I constantly updated. Okay, just because you said it once doesn't mean that it's good to go. I mean, I'm updating mine all the time, optimizing. Why? Because marketing trends shift. And as marketing trends shift, you need to shift with them. So before it had me talking in front of a large crowd on stage. I'm not talking on any stages right now. All right. So number one, I updated my cover page. My photo, I just gave it a fresh look. But more importantly than that, I updated this all this text right here. Okay. I made this look more like a landing page format. And what am I promoting? I mean, I do a lot of things, but the main thing I'm promoting is my Friday virtual networking events. And there's a strategy behind that. Because I want to get you on my calls. I want you to get to know me. I want to offer you value before I ask you of anything. I mean, like I said, I do marketing for businesses. I get hired by companies. I get hired by entrepreneurs. Do I talk about any of that? No, it's not necessary to talk about everything that I do. What's important for you is what can I do for you right now? And most people don't like high engagement. A virtual networking call is not high engagement. I'm not asking much of you. I'm inviting you as my guest. Okay, you need to have something similar. That's what I'm saying. And right here, do I lead in that I'm the CEO founder? No, who cares? Do you care? No, of course you don't care. All you care about is what can I do for you? Here's what I can do for you. Hosting virtual networking calls for entrepreneurs, business owners. Okay, so week number one, I know I'm going quickly through this, but week number one, all of you get a formula on how to create your networking page into your brand's mini landing page. I know some of you have done this exercise with me. This might be a repeat for you, but that's okay. You keep, like I just told you, I update mine constantly. Going through this exercise is not going to hurt you. Week number two, building your authority. We're going to talk a lot about what we talked about today and more. There's a lot to cover. You already heard me allude to the fact, great, you know, you're posting, even if you're doing daily posts, how do you get people to engage? There are different ways to get people to engage with your posts so that it actually, you know, keeps rising and just stays in people's sphere for much longer much longer. So we talked about this. Okay, so week 3 and 4, we're focusing on how to find the right people on LinkedIn, right? We're spending 2 weeks on this because this is crucial. How do you actually find the people that you need to talk to? All right. So we're spending 2 weeks on this. There's a number of different ways. And again, I'm not going to go too far into details right now, but something for you to remember is to make a note for yourself. And then engagement is key on LinkedIn, right? We talked about engagement, but how do you do it? Sending someone a connection request is meaningless unless it's done with purpose, okay? Intention and proper engagement follow-up, very similar to in-person networking. So we're gonna have templates, we're gonna have a sequence, and these are a lot of the things that we talk about. How do you build that relationship? You have to nurture people. So how do we do that? Finally, week 6, getting them into your marketing funnel. As I said earlier, LinkedIn should not be used to sell. We do not sell on LinkedIn. If you're selling on LinkedIn, please stop. You're accidentally being one of those spammers, okay? So now that you've generated the leads, you're connected, you're engaged, it's time to take the conversation off of LinkedIn. So how do we do that? And what's your funnel? You have to have a strategy, okay? My top of the funnel is my virtual networking calls. What is yours? Right? So this is where you need to have an understanding of why you're taking them off of LinkedIn, but putting them into your funnel. That's week 6. Okay. And that's it. So very quickly before because I know it's, we have a few minutes and we're getting to questions, but the format is virtual. Obviously it's going to be Wednesdays for starting on January 20th from 12 to 1:30 p.m. The first and second meetings are actually going to be 2 hours because, you know, we want to get to know each other as well. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, all of you are networking, all of you are professionals, all of you on LinkedIn. You're all going to help each other be seen on LinkedIn. I am going to help you network on LinkedIn while teaching you how to do it, meaning you're all going to become a solid part of each other's network and help the posts grow. Okay, so this is very active. Meaning you're all going to be engaged in each other's success. So January dates, Wednesday, January 20th, 12 to 2, okay, the 27th, these are the February dates. All calls will be recorded. If for some reason you can't make a call or two, excuse me, no problem, the calls will be recorded, all right? So you see I pick on Linda because, you know, Linda just loves me so much, but I love Linda's testimonial, and some of you maybe were on the call on Friday, but this was a great one, Linda. I love what you said. You know, I've been working with Gelly one-on-one as well as in her mastermind, and she completely turned me around on LinkedIn. She helped me get a much better understanding of who my avatar is, my ideal client. Again, that's not the Blue People movie. Tighten up my messaging and compose copy that speaks directly to the clients I want to work with. Certainly, if you can take your course, I highly recommend it. I know many of you know Linda. She's on a lot of our virtual calls. Here's James. I love what James said. I asked James, I said, James, you know, why did you decide to work with me? And he said, everybody's selling marketing solutions. I've learned to I've learned to beware of those who are selling a treasure map. I attend many of Gelly's networking sessions. I was convinced by her knowledge and professional approach. So I was like, that's so wonderful. Like, thank you, James. You know, that's so true. Everybody out there is selling something right now. It's such a loud market, you know, and in the past, I used to partner with people that teach on LinkedIn, right? So I would partner with them and they would teach a webinar, you know, on my platform, and then they would sell their courses. And a lot of times my people came back and they said, Gelly, they don't teach like you and we don't like it. So I was like, all right, I'll do it myself, because we all have a unique teaching style. And if you've ever done any work with me, you know, I share a lot of very useful information. I'm not constantly trying to upsell. Nobody likes to be sold. And then here's one from Robert. And again, this one speaks to the fact, I love what he says, simply Gelly gets it. She helps entrepreneurs because she is one and she lives in our world every day. Right? So I'm teaching you to do the same things that I do every day. I'm not trying to sell you some pipe dream or something that, oh, I think this should work. This is what works for me because this is what I do every day. This is how I network. I teach, when we were networking face-to-face, that's what I was teaching. And now that we're networking on LinkedIn, I'm teaching the same thing. Okay. So I can help you because this is what I do on a daily basis. Okay. You're thinking, great. Okay, Gelly. So how do we participate? So there's 3 ways to participate, okay? The $297 level includes access to the 6-week course, recorded sessions, and access to the private Facebook group, okay? There's no one-on-one time with me, but I try to keep these very affordable for everyone for the type of information you're going to get in the 6 weeks, right? Because one client, if you get one client off of this, that should pay for itself. The $597 option tends to be the most popular one because you do get one-on-one time with me. And a lot of times people want me to review their LinkedIn profile. They want me to give them a marketing assessment. There's no, I mean, we go pretty deep, and like, this is unique to you, right? Outside of the classroom. And then the $997 level, for those of you that are actually looking to get promoted in front of my network as well, this is a really good one because you get the course, you get the one-on-one time, and either an email promotion of your company crafted by me, which I don't know if any of you saw me send out Linda's email about her virtual photography. So that it would be something similar like that, right? Is I promote your company to the network, or sponsorship of 2 of my virtual networking calls. Okay. So again, different options for different prices. Okay. And as a bonus, once you graduate the class, everybody gets 1 free month in my mastermind program at no cost. So what happens when we go into the mastermind is you're learning in the 6 weeks. And even though it's hands-on, you're going to have questions. Okay. So when we go into the mastermind, we're answering questions. We're all working on a lot of the same things. So you've got your peers giving you feedback, right? You maybe come up with a headline. You now have a group of people to test it out on. Does this make sense? What I find with a lot of my small business owners, they're very good at their craft. They're not good at marketing. And they have a difficult time explaining to people what it is that they do. It makes sense in their head, but it doesn't make sense to the rest of the world, okay? So you've got a group of people that are actually going to give you live feedback, me included. Okay. So that's the bonus. Have another bonus for you guys. If you actually sign up today, and this is a today offer only, you get a free 25-minute marketing assessment session with me. Okay. So what does that mean? I'm going to look at all your stuff. We're going to pull up whatever you have, your website, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, whatever you've got to show me. I'll take a look at it and I will give you feedback. Does this make sense? Are you talking to your avatar? Is your copywriting on point, right? Because sometimes you have all these things that the experts told you to do, but the clients still aren't coming. Well, the question is why? Why aren't the clients coming? Because like I said, sometimes it makes sense in your head, but it doesn't make sense in the marketing world. So if whoever signs up today gets this 25-minute marketing assessment with me, okay? Look in the chat window. Okay, so for a few things. So here's what I'm sending you. I'm gonna, in the chat window, for those of you that are still on here, thank you for being with me. We still have quite a few people on. I'm going to give you the the checklist as I promised, and I am going to give you the link to the registration page, with more information on the whole LinkedIn course. And we're going to do questions, okay? The final thing I'm going to tell you, I've never had this happen, but you never know. If you find the course was a complete waste of your time, I will give you a full refund. Like, I will not argue with you. If you come to me and you say, Gelly, it sucked and you suck, I will give you a full refund, okay? We're not going to argue. So I think a lot of times it's not about the money for people, it's about the trust. Right? Can Gelly actually deliver on what she's promising? So, I know some of you have spent quite a bit of time with me. Not everybody on the call knows me. I know there's a lot of new faces, but maybe hang on with me for the question and answers. And, you'll hear me answer some questions. You'll hear from some of my community and we can go from there. So okay. So as promised, let me stop sharing my screen just for one moment so I can see the chat box. Okay, so here is the 15-minute assessment, or I'm sorry, the 15-minute checklist, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, I accidentally sent that privately to everyone. Okay, let me resend that. Here it is, so everybody should have that. And here is the link to my to the course. Okay, the registration button is at the bottom, but you can read. No, that didn't. That's weird, what happened? Let me try that again. There we go. Okay, that final link that came through, the very last message in there. And I will email all of you, obviously, as well. But remember, if you sign up today, you've got that awesome 25-minute assessment bonus. Okay, so it's time for Q&A. All right, so we are great. We are right on time. So what we're going to do now is, if you have a question, please unmute yourself. If you can raise your hand or unmute yourself, and just go ahead and ask the question, and I will stay on as long as I need to answer whatever needs to be answered. So Jesus, was that you raising your hand? No? Okay.
Now, just saying thank you so much. I'll see you on the 20th.
Awesome. And Jesus already signed up. So thank you, Jesus. See you on the 20th.
Kelly, I've got probably an easy one for you. When I share someone else's post and they already have hashtags on there, are those hashtags going to carry along with that share, or do I need to put new hashtags in that are the same?
They will carry with that share.
Okay, so I don't need to do redundant hashtags. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. And with hashtags, you don't want to have more than 4 on LinkedIn. Okay, LinkedIn is not like Instagram. You don't want to have more than 4 hashtags. Okay, Jersey, was that you? Did I see you raising your hand? I'm not, if I'm saying your name. Okay, go ahead and unmute yourself.
That's okay.
Or Jerice.
Yeah, my name is Jerice. Yeah, it is Jerice. That's okay. I was curious, when you were talking about the circle around your profile picture, is that of like major importance to get that circle? And if so, why?
Great question. It is not of major importance. It was just more for aesthetics. It makes the picture stand out, and it matches my brand. Yeah, but it's not necessary. It was just, I like to change things up every so often. So, but great question.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for being here. Okay, Mel, I think I saw you raising your hand.
Yeah, hi. Is it worth it to pay for the premium service?
Okay, great question. So the premium service allows you, it does a few things. One of the main things it allows you to do is see who viewed your profile. And if you can see who viewed your profile, then you can follow up with them and say, it's almost like a warm follow-up, right? Because if they viewed your profile, then they must have a reason for it. So if you are, if you're actively going to see who viewed your profile and then following up with them, then I would say it's probably worth it. But otherwise, it doesn't really have, so like my profile is free. I don't pay for anything. So everything I do and everything I will show you is all free. I don't use Sales Navigator, and I don't have the premium profile. So Mel, to answer your question, it depends on how you use LinkedIn.
Cool, thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
We want you, Danielle.
Okay, who wants to go next? You can just unmute yourself.
Can I ask a question?
Of course, Andy.
I'm already.
Wait, one second. Hold on, we have somebody that's not muted. Okay, go ahead, Andy.
I'm already involved in a 16-week course with GoDaddy. Is this going to happen again? Are you going to continue in the future with the LinkedIn program?
That's a good question, Andy. I'm not 100% sure. It's possible. We need to see how 2021 unfolds. As you know, I've been running my 8-week marketing course, the marketing and networking course. And I do want to come back to that next, because I'm switching that one up to more of a digital format, like digital networking. So I don't have a definite answer for you right now. I am sorry. Okay. But let's see how 2021 unfolds. Not to say no, it's more of an I don't know.
Okay, very good. Thanks.
Okay, of course. All right. All right. Oh, and I love it. Wayne just sent me a message that he's signing up. Wonderful. Love it. Okay, welcome, Wayne. I don't know if he's still on the call. I just saw his message. Awesome. Oh, I see you. Very cool. Okay, who else has their hand up? I saw a few people. I don't know if they dropped off. Rick?
Yeah, Gelly, if I can I want to comment back to Andy. So Andy, when you sign up and have the part that gives you all of the replays, your timing goes away as an issue. So you can go ahead with your GoDaddy course and still be able to take advantage of everything that Gelly's going to teach you. Just wanted to make that comment in there.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, Andy, yeah, if you can somehow, I don't know, is the GoDaddy course at the same time as I'm teaching live? Or, you know, maybe the timing, if the timing is different, and we can, you know, we can maybe talk about that off. I owe you a call anyway, so let's talk about it offline.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, any other questions on LinkedIn? I made everything that clear? That's incredible.
So I just wanted, I'm sorry, I just wanted to double check. You don't pay anything for your LinkedIn. You've got the basic plan and that's what you do everything on.
Correct.
Okay.
That
I
is
just-
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
That was
I
going to be
have-
my question too, so. All right.
Basic plan. There's a lot you could do with the basic plan. That's what I'm saying. Right now, LinkedIn is functioning like Facebook did years ago. This is the time to capitalize on it.
Okay.
All right. This is not like, let's wait for the next, oh, you know, I'll think about it. You guys, I mean, you saw how 2020 went. Like, the digital networking thing is here to stay. People are now comfortable with it. People are all over it. But just because they're all over doesn't mean they know what they're doing. So that's why I'm adding this into my, you know, my educational lineup. Is I'm seeing a mess out there on LinkedIn, and I want to help all of you do what I do, you know, because this is how I pull people. I pull people from LinkedIn daily.
Yeah, Gelly, let me just make a comment as far as paying for LinkedIn. I did it for about a year and got almost nothing out of it. I also signed up because you can get leads in your category of business. And so after a year, I went, you know, I'm getting leads, I'm not getting any business. So I quit it. Now, what's happened since then is that area that I have signed up for, I get notices regularly when inquiries come up, but they won't let me find those people. They cut me off. They said, well, if you really want to talk to these people, sign up again. Well, what I do is I do a search, I find them, and I send a direct connect. And, you know, so unless you're on it once, you probably won't get those notices, but I got to tell you, it wasn't worth it at all. Not for me anyway.
Was that with Sales Navigator, Linda, or was that with Premium? Which one was that?
Premium. Sales Navigator might work for people who are looking for all different kinds of things, but no, it was on the Premium. Not worth it. $69 or something a month, and I'd rather spend that with Gelly than with LinkedIn. So
thank you. I appreciate it. All right, any other, well, Benita, looks like you have a question.
Sorry. I did have a question. So obviously, Gelly, you and I met on LinkedIn. I'm a LinkedIn junkie, and I am always jumping in on these things to learn more where I can. But I actually had a question for you because obviously I was looking at some profiles while we were on the call. And Linda, who you're working with, when I went into her profile to connect with her, she has her profile closed. She doesn't allow you to connect unless you know her and can put in her email address. Is that an error, or is that something that you have recommended? Because I personally, obviously I couldn't connect with her.
Yeah, that's a good question that you brought that up. I think I've been connected with Linda for a long time, so we must have not caught that. I don't think Linda would have closed her profile.
no, not intentionally. And I've seen that with other profiles also. Am I a third connection for you or a second?
Well, you would be a second because I'm connected to Jilly.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why. You know what I do with those is I do connect and add a note.
Well,
So
you
what you're
can't even
saying-
add a note. The way the algorithms are now, you can't add a note unless you put in an email address. So when I went to connect with you,
No,
it says,
Yeah.
do you know her personally? Please put in her email address to confirm you know her.
that's so strange because I haven't had to do that for a long time. I don't know. I can't. I'll go look.
So you should just check your settings, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
Linda, it's your settings. We'll have to take a look
Yeah.
at your settings. We've been connected for
Yeah.
a long time, so I must have not caught it, right? Because we're obviously connected. But yeah, no, that is not
Yeah.
something I recommend. Absolutely
Huh.
not. I mean, like I said, I recommend that we connect with everybody because we're networking. You know, I had somebody get on a call with me the other day, and he said, Gelly, here's my thing about LinkedIn. I have these people that want to connect with me and people that have seen me speak, but I don't know them personally. So should I connect with them? And I should tell you, before he said this to me, he said he's writing a book. He's like, I'm about to finish a book. right? I'm like, oh, that's wonderful, congratulations. And then his next question is, well, when people see me speak on stage and then they want to connect with me, should I connect with them? And I'm thinking, like,
there's a disconnect there.
there's a complete, I'm like, do you not? And I said to him, do you not want to sell your book? He says, of course I want to sell my book. I'm like, then why would you not connect with people, especially if this is how you speak? He's like, well, I don't know them. And what if they want to know who my connections are? Like, that's a hoarding mentality, right? Like, that is not a networking mentality. So I explained to him, anyways, he actually gave me the biggest compliment. He's a professor at a renowned college, and he's very much involved in a lot. And the thing is, you know, the people he's connected to are celebrity type of people. So I understand where he's coming from, but he said, Gelly, no one has ever been able to change my mind on LinkedIn, but the way that you just explained it to me makes complete sense. So I was like, okay, that's a good compliment.
Absolutely.
You know, but just when he said that to me, he's like, I've got a book out and I don't know if I should connect to people. Like, to me, it just, of course you should. You're marketing, you know, you want to sell the book. You want people to see what you're talking about. So, but Benita, thank you so much for catching that. Yeah, go ahead.
I always say, would you go into a networking event not knowing anybody and not introduce yourself or exchange contact information? No, you wouldn't. So it's really the same with LinkedIn. Difference between networking versus lead gen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's all about building the relationship, right? And that's what I was saying. A lot of the concepts that we talk about in face-to-face networking relate to LinkedIn, right? And dopamine comes in. Make people feel good. Nobody wants to feel like they're being sold. Okay, so any other questions or thoughts?
That fella needs to read more of Will Rogers. A stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet.
Yep. I think I have that as one of my quotes on somewhere, like one of my, life quotes. Love that one. All right. Well, if there, actually, let me see. I'm looking through the chat to see if there's any questions. So if nobody else has any more questions, it's 1:14. What I would suggest then, for those of you that are still on here, I would actually suggest that you take your LinkedIn profile and put it in the chat, and allow people to connect with each other. So, we could spend a few minutes to network. Why not? We're not going to turn this into a virtual networking event, but if you are looking to connect people and grow your network, you're all on this call, pull up your LinkedIn profile, grab the URL and post it in the chat, maybe introduce yourself, just tell us your name. And there you go. I see them coming in. Awesome. And a little tip on how you can save the chat. On the bottom of the chat, it says file and there's 3 little dots. So if you click on the 3 little dots, you can save the chat. That way you can actually save the document and you can go through and pull up everyone's LinkedIn profile afterwards. And I would say also, this is just, not say, but, instead of, I think most of you have my profile, maybe not. I'm going to, maybe not all of you do. I'm going to give you my profile. Where is it? I have so many tabs open now. Here we go. My profile. So I'll put in mine as well. If any of you are not connected with me, of course, I would love to connect. And if any of you actually want to go and read my article and comment on it and engage with it, the do's and don'ts of I did
comment, but I'm guilty of multitasking. Sorry.
Oh, all good. All good. No worries. Okay. So I'm pasting that in right there. Yeah. If anybody wants to comment, that would be great, because again, engagement, right? And again, but this is how we support each other. And that's what I was saying, the group, whoever signs up for the course, we're going to support each other on LinkedIn, to get extra engagement, to get things going. So there's nothing wrong with asking people to engage with your content. In fact, that's one of the strategies, is to, you know, have your close group of, your close network to go through and make some comments and just boost it up a little bit. And then LinkedIn, when LinkedIn sees that it's relevant, it starts to show it in more people's news feeds. And that's how we build momentum. That's how we get that authority, right? Because the other thing I was going to say is, you know, just an analogy, and I mean, this might be an obvious one, but, you know, one of the things that I think, again, most of you, if you're here in Phoenix, you've known me for a while, the word networking here is synonymous with Gelly, right? It's like Gelly, networking, Gelly. Like, it's just, you know, that's my word. And I build that credibility, right? I mean, 13 years, not for nothing, you know? So, you're looking to accomplish the same result in LinkedIn, right? So when somebody thinks of you, so when you think of Linda, you think virtual photography, right? So you want to be thought of that thought leader in your vertical. Okay, so that's where we're going with that authority. Okay, so I see, and I love that most of you are, some of you are still putting stuff in. David says, Gelly, what impresses me the most about your way is that you personally respond to messages quickly. That's so important. Thank you, David. That is so important. that is relationship building, right? And that's what I'm telling you. Like I tell everybody to do what I do. Like, there's no magic button here. There's no secret formula, you know, to become rich overnight. It's hard work. You've got to build relationships. If networking is part of how you grow your business, relationships. Okay. And so that's what I do. I think all of you know that's what I'm about. Laurel has a question. Okay, Laurel, do you want to mute yourself or do you want to type it in? Either way is fine.
I have a question and a comment. I wanted to go audio because I've known you for years, Gelly. Congratulations. You keep growing. You keep going. It's incredible. And you're helping so many people.
Thank you.
I'm so thrilled to see you continue and continue and continue.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I do have a question. Oftentimes I'm on an iPad for a Zoom meeting. Does anybody out there know how to save the chat? Otherwise, you've got to bring it up. I got to do a screenshot and a screenshot and a screenshot. When I'm on my laptop, it works, but not on an iPad.
I don't know on an iPad, but what I can offer is I can, you know, I can email you the, you know, because I'll have it saved, so I can email you the document.
Oh, as far as the chat goes, yes. Okay,
yeah,
beautiful.
The chat. Yeah, but I don't know how to save it, and I've never done one on an iPad, so I don't know. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Keep going. Love it.
Yeah, no, thank you. Appreciate it. I love it. I know. And it's always fun, you know, to see, you know, I'll tell you the story about Laurel. Okay. This is years ago. I don't know how many years ago, maybe four or 5 years ago now. Laurel walked into one of my monthly mixers and she came up to me and she had a piece of paper in her hand. She's Gelly. We haven't met before. Okay. I didn't know this woman. She comes up to me. You're Gelly, right? Yes. Okay. These are the people I want to meet. Can you show me where they are? And I'm like, oh, this woman is brilliant. And I did. I was like, yes, because she took the time to print out a list of attendees that were coming and she researched who they were. I was like, I am going to, like, and I don't know that I got her to everyone, but I knew who most of them were. So, so that was how Laurel and I met. And that was a few years ago. So
that had to have been at least 7 years ago.
I don't know if it was 7.
6?
I think maybe. I don't.
Well, because I've been with Family Home Care for 6 years now, and it was before I worked for them.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, time flies.
Yeah.
Well, 7 years ago.
Well, yeah, but I had a strategy, and Kelly helped me.
And you talk about an introduction, right? Like I remember that because who does that? Nobody. But that's something that I teach. I would teach people to do that all the time before going into a networking event. Look at the attendee list. Research your attendees. Just find out who you want to meet before you get there, right? And the fact that Laurel did that, I was like, this is amazing. Like so I remember that. That was very memorable. So awesome. Very cool. Well, I don't want to keep anybody longer. I know we all have a lot of work to do. You know, it's still the beginning of the day, somewhat beginning of the day, you know, still lots to cover. So I am just going to say thank you all for being here today. If you think of anything else, all of you know how to get a hold of me. I do hope that, you know, those of you that need help with LinkedIn, I hope you join me, you know, in the 6-week course. And, you know, remember, if you sign up today, you know, I'm trying to dangle the carrot, but that marketing assessment is actually, it's big. I find a lot of solopreneurs, their marketing is completely off. And I do marketing assessments all the time. If you don't end up doing the LinkedIn or the, you know, I am for hire to help with the marketing assessment. You know, we spend about an hour together, hour and a half, you know, if we need to. And I go through all your, like I said, your footprint. What do you have? Like, show me what you have. We go through it. And, you know, sometimes it's more of a marketing, I'm sorry, more of a working session. Sometimes it's more of me exploring. It depends on what you have. But again, my background is in marketing, communications, and so that's a lot of what I bring to the table as well. Okay. All right. So, Julie, okay. So Julie is asking, she's, I'm really excited about the course and your marketing assessment. How do we proceed with the assessment? I'd like my part. Okay. No worries. So Julie, I'll follow up with you. We'll schedule it. The short answer is we'll schedule it. So if you signed up, which I haven't looked at any of this, I have not looked into the signups are, but if you signed up, I'll follow up with you.
I did. Yeah, I signed up. I'm all set.
Okay. Well, this is going to be super exciting. We already have a number of people signed up, which is awesome. So again, thank you all for being here. You know how to get a hold of me if you have any questions, and hopefully I'll see you all soon, right? If anyone's looking for virtual networking, Friday, 12 p.m.
See you Friday.
All right. Sounds
See you
good.
Friday. Thanks, Kelly.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kathleen. Bye-bye.